Hello everyone, I'm Azaraki, and I'm here to bring you a little bit of a rundown as well as a small basic tutorial of a new game called Infinity Wars. Now this game is in closed beta developed by Lightmare Studios, and it is a trading card game. The first thing to differentiate is between a trading card game and a collectible card game. The difference is quite simple. Trading card games allow you to trade cards, whereas collectible card games do not. An example would be a collectible card game would be something like Hearthstone, where you can't actually trade cards with other players. Now, so far, the model of this game is sort of the microtransaction thing that's been really popular lately. Free-to-play game, however, in order to get extra booster packs, you need to spend either real money or IP, which you earn in-game. Now over here on the left side, you'll see LP, that's the fire thing, IP is the silver shield thing. Now, so far they have two sets, which indicates to me that they're planning on releasing more sets in the future, so you'll never really run out of cards to collect. The super booster packs give you 15 cards, the normal booster packs give you 3 cards, and the super packs are exactly 5 times as pricey as the 3 cards ones. And they're actually more worth it because you're guaranteed to get at least one rare in a super booster pack, whereas you're not guaranteed to get any rare in a normal booster pack. So it is more efficient to get a super booster pack, but moving past that, we can actually go straight into a game. Right here, I'm going to play against the AI because there's no turn limit, or there's no time limit per turn against AI. So let's get right into this game. And now a lot of new things, and a lot of returning things, and my god, my opening hand. Anyway, we see up at I only have 10 of these guys, and I drew 5 of them on the first draw out of 40 cards in a deck. That's pretty ridiculous. Anyway, at the top you see the resources of each player. That's basically your mana, and that increases by the base amount that you get increases by 1 every turn. So this turn I have 1, even no matter what I play, next turn I will have 2, and then 3, and then 4, and so on. That's the first thing to note, and that's not really much of a change. In Hearthstone, it works the same way. It just has a different name. Now let's take a look at the card in itself. Flame Dawn Aspirant. Alright, so we can see a lot of different things going on with these cards. Top right, we see this big yellow number. That's the amount of resources you need to pay in order to put this person onto the field. So he costs 1 resource, I have 1 resource, I can play him. Simple as that. Near the bottom, you see a fist as well as a little cross, which normally indicates like medic or health. That is the health, and this fist is the power. Now, when we back out, you can see that power slash health, and that's the general format for any card that you're not actually zoomed in for. But let's zoom back in and notice some of the other things that are going on. This is an unlimited character. Each faction has 1 unlimited character, and what that means is that you can play, or you can have as many as you want in a deck. Like, for example, I have 10 Flame Dawn Aspirants in this deck. You could make a deck with 40 if you really wanted. Probably wouldn't be a very well-built deck, but you could. Now, the thing about unlimited characters is that they're actually important to whatever deck you're playing. Unless you're trying to run a dual faction thing, at that point, unlimited characters aren't quite as important, but say I'm playing against Veror right now, its unlimited character is the Death Worshipper, and he can have as many of these on the field as he wants, and the deck's kind of built around it. The base Veror deck is built around it. It gets +2/+2 whenever an enemy character dies, and that's a permanent +2/+2. So, I've had Death Worshippers go up to 30/30. And that's part of the reason why it's a staple of the deck, and each deck has its own sort of unlimited character. Now, we can move on to some of the big differences in the game. So first of all, the biggest thing to mention, you can't quite see it right now, but both players take turns at the exact same time. So whatever I do, I'm taking it as at the exact same time as the enemy character is. You see, he didn't actually see me place this down yet. Nothing happens, your enemy doesn't see anything, nothing is finalized until you hit end turn. Once you hit end turn, then both players' turns get carried out at the same time. Everything resolves at the same time, and I just got another 1 drop. It's not a Flame Dawn Aspirant, so we're thankful for that, but past that, we also see, I can actually bring this guy back just so we can clear up a little bit and make things a little bit easier to see. Actually, I can move him over here, that's pretty out of the way. Anyway, we have 4 zones. Each player has 4 zones. The defense zone on the left here, assault zone on the right, support zone is in the back, and the command zone is in the back left. And now, since both turns happen at the exact same time, you can't really say, alright, I'm going to attack you with this, because, both players are taking their turns at the same time. So how this game separates it is that any character in the assault zone will automatically attempt to attack the enemy player's fortress. Any character in the defense zone will block characters in the assault zone. So, say he had a Flame Dawn Aspirant. That's not possible since he's playing Varor, but let's just assume hypothetically for the point of argument. And I move this guy over here. So he's going to try to attack me with that Flame Dawn Aspirant. And mine is going to defend him. Now they're both theoretically 4-2. So that means that mine will deal 4 damage to his character. He will do 4 damage to my character, and my character will do 4 damage to his. Both of them are at 2 health, so they both die. Now, he can't... Since mine has successfully blocked his in that specific case, he couldn't actually attack my fortress directly. And fortress is basically your health pool. Now you can see right here, health. 100 out of 100, morale, 100 out of 100. These are the 2 win conditions of the game, and there are more win conditions, but these are the main ones. The only other win conditions there are at the moment are basically if a card says that you win the game if blah 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 happens, if certain conditions are met, then you just win the game that way. But otherwise, you're going to be attempting to either bring down the opponent's health to 0 or their morale to 0. Either one will result in a victory, but you do not need to do both at the same time. And this is where we can zoom back in here a little bit and see right here under the resource cost, we also see the morale cost. Now, as soon as you play this guy, that doesn't matter. Like, I can play this guy right now, morale doesn't take any factor into it. However, when the Flame Dawn Aspirant dies, I lose 3 morale. And you can tell that by this number here. This guy makes me drop 3 morale when he dies, this guy makes me drop 5, and this guy makes me drop 8. So each card has a different morale cost, and if that character were to die, then you lose that morale. So let's just play a little bit more. Unfortunately, I'm not really getting too many good cards to showcase this, but each card, as soon as you play a card, it appears in the support zone, which means, it's like summoning sickness in, in Magic the Gathering, where they can't attack or defend on the turn that they were brought in. It's like they come into battle tapped. However, there are certain cards like the Flame Dawn Aspirant with special abilities like Charge or Vigilance. Charge allows you to place it directly into the Assault Zone, and Vigilance lets you play it directly into the defense zone. So right here I can use Charge, and these guys go right onto the assault zone, and they will attack as soon as I click end turn, which I'm going to do right now. Now, while it's processing the turn, alright, there you go, he used a spell, and everything resolves at the same time. So I didn't know that he was going to place the spell down, but now that everything's resolving, then he kills my guy. Alright. Now, moving on to our next turn, we see that we have 3 mana now, which unlocks this person right here. He costs 3 resource points, rather. And anyone in the command zone can be played anywhere on the battlefield. So I can place him defense zone, I can place him attack zone, I can place him support zone, and he will not get fatigued because he's already in the command zone. You still need to pay the resource costs, but you don't need to wait out that 1 turn before you can actually play him. A couple of more things to note. Bottom right, we have the trading post. This gives you a little bit of auxiliary stuff that you can do to get a little bit of an edge. Say if I had a card that that I knew I wasn't going to use in quite a while. I don't really have one right now. I guess Fiery Resolve would be sort of a thing, but I'm against Varor, so that's... I definitely want to keep Fiery Resolve because it blocks a spell. And a cool thing about this is that it has preemptive, so this card resolves before other cards. If I play this on, say, our Vicious Ransacker right here, any spells targeted towards this guy will be blocked, for sure, because this guy has this spell has preemptive, so it happens before anything else. It gives this guy the immunity before anything else happens. Alright, so the rest of the trading post, or actually, I didn't finish explaining the first one, but pay 3, so that's 3 resources. You can shuffle a card from your hand into the deck, so I say I don't want this knight guy. I can put him back in the deck and then draw another card. So it's an exchange. It's pretty useful in a lot of situations. Pay 5, draw a card. That's pretty self-explanatory. I don't think you need me to tell you what draw a card means. And then there's also pay 9, which is increase base resources by 1. The reason this is important is because that once you get to 10 base resources up here, that's the cap. You can only have 10 maximum in terms of just waiting out turns each turn. However, if you pay 9 to increase your base resources, then you could theoretically go up to 11, 12, 13, all the way up to 30 if you really wanted to, and the game actually lasted that long. And that is the trading post. That's what that does. Now, one of the cool things about playing with where everything resolves at the same time is that a lot of abilities won't work if your guys are in the support zone. Like, there are some board clears, like I'm trying to think of the name, but it's Winds of something. And what that basically does is it deals 5 damage to every character in a combat zone, and combat zones are the defense zone and the assault zone. So if they're in the combat zone, they take damage. Now, if I predict that he's going to use a board clear like that, I can draw everything back to my support zone. That costs no resources, and that ability that he used will end up missing. Now, I don't think he's going to do anything like that, so I can keep them out there and press end turn. So it's going to take the turn, blah blah blah, I get to attack his fortress directly, and all that good stuff. Now this guy over here, he's a commander. Well, he's Bromic, the field commander, and he's also a commander in my deck. So he's a commander in 2 senses, commander squared. So we're going to play him right on the battlefield. Once again, he has 4 resource costs, and he's in the command zone, so I can do that. He increases everyone else in the attack zone by 2. He increases the power by 2. So let's just end the turn right there and see what happens from here on out. Now, he might decide to defend with that, and there we go, Death Ray. Now, if I predicted this, if I said, alright, he's probably going to Death Ray me, I could bring Vicious Ransacker back into my support zone and make sure that he doesn't get targeted. But however, everything resolves at the same time. I didn't know he was going to do that, so instead, Vicious Ransacker dies. I still get to attack his fortress, however. And the game continues on like this for quite a while, and we can just, keep playing cards. There are a lot of things to do. This guy has flying right here. Flying is the same like it is in Magic. It can only be defended by characters that also have flying, or that have a special... It doesn't actually have a word, but, there's a Warpath card that's Jungle Giant, and it can block creatures with flying. It literally says on the card, it can block creatures with flying, so that's something that can stop it. However, flying cards can defend anything without flying, so if I were to play this guy in the defense zone, he could still defend people who don't have flying. And we're just going to end this game fairly soon right now. There's really not too much left to worry about. Actually, I could end it right now by playing this guy, and what he does is his fortress, the enemy's fortress rather, takes damage equal to twice the number of characters I currently control. So that's command zone, support zone, defense zone, and attack zone. Those are all in my control. Those in my hand, not so much. So right now I see 6 cards. That'll do 12 damage. So after that I only need to deal 4 damage. God, I just mathed horribly right there, but after this turn ends, I should be able to just win the game right there. And, notice that his morale didn't drop. Okay, you can do that. That's fine. Notice his morale didn't drop at all. I only dropped his health, and I still won from it. There are decks that are based on dropping morale, but rarely will you ever reduce both to 0. And here's the post-game screen. You can see on the left, that's how much IP you have, that's in-game currency, and on the bottom right, you see how much experience you have. So that's sort of the basic rundown of what this game is. I talked about the business model and I talked about all of that. If you guys are interested in seeing more, I will certainly post more. And I'm already planning on doing a couple more videos in terms of terminology, explaining some of the factions and what they do, what their general purpose is in terms of how the factions play out their decks. A lot of other things I will be talking about, go a little bit more in depth in terms of these tutorials. But for now, if you want to keep watching, go ahead and subscribe. and you'll be updated whenever I post those new videos. Otherwise, you can also follow me on Twitter at Azaraki Dragon, and I really want you guys to be able to play this game. I want your questions answered, so you can send me a question in the comments, you can send me a question in a private message, or you can message me or tweet at me on Twitter. And all those things, I will either put them in a video or I'll answer them right out, just like give you a text response in order to tell you a little bit more about that. And I might compile a bunch of different questions into a big video, a big feedback video or something. But until then, make sure you guys check out this game. It's Infinity Wars by Lightmare Studios. Have fun, and I'll see you guys next time.